Hello, Aries. I'm going to talk about your year 2016, and you are a charismatic character in the whole stage set. And I'm going to go month by month, and just to keep in mind that you can freeze frame any of these slides and just read more about it. I mean, I'm going to have a summary of the month, which is here. This counts for everybody. This is just the flavor of the month. In January, we're going to have omens about who has real power. So they're going to be more revolution and upgrade jitters. So my advice is be cool, manage your brand and your duties. Mercury is retrograde from January 5th through the 25th. Okay, now the first thing, we have a new moon, and this is going to be January, the actual new moon, it looks like it's January 9th, but we do have some Sun conjunct Pluto effects. So this is going to be in your 10th house, and you will have more indications about where the real power, wealth, trade secrets in your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals is going. And the new moon gives you a chance to set things up. Now, since we have a Mercury retrograde starting January 5th, you want to get things set up beforehand as much as possible. So that would be relatively simple, except that we have a square to Uranus. But this can actually be where you enter in the scene, is that there's powerful things set up in a career situation, but you may have the charisma and the real insight about the future that you can come in and kind of reinvent things. So you just don't want to frighten people too much that you're too wild. Okay, February is kind of a sleeper month that wakes up at the end, but even then seems dreamy. So my advice is pay attention to subtle cues and train your ESP. So in order to do that, avoid toxins and shun illusions. Okay, so the big event, I've tried to distill these down to just 1 or 2 events a month. The big event in February will be the full moon. The full moon is in your 6th house in terms of your duties, job, accounting, and health. And there's some fortunate things coming around in that area for you. So even though that's opposed to Neptune, and Sun conjunct Neptune on the full moon, this would mean that your duties and health can be guided by spirituality and by your intuition. And you will have to cope with the nemesis. That'll be either someone that you just can't stand, but you have to deal with in the situation. So something to keep in mind on that full moon is keep your eye on the ball, which is the luck happening in your workplace. In March, we have a bunch of eclipses, so forecast is for global opinion is shifting, especially regarding topics of religion, patronage, and healing. So my advice for everybody is be ready for anything, keep the faith, but use science and worst-case analysis. How does this count for you? These eclipses, the first solar eclipse in March is falling in your 12th house. So again, spirituality, dreams, and prophecy, dealing with the nemesis is something you have to deal with, and that means situations that are uncomfortable for you. This might involve karmic links, something you have to monitor. There might be profits or debts that you got to take care of, and a lot of maintenance and revisions. Solar eclipses are always trendsetters, and they are receptive. So the thing is, you can clear out whatever skeletons are in the closet and correct things. Then right after that, on March 8th, that solar eclipse, we have a lunar eclipse. So the entire moon phase I have noted here is the 21st through the 25th. Lunar eclipses are always a challenge to the standards, either the family or the community situation. There are extreme emotions. Women are especially affected by lunar eclipses, but in this case, it's in your 7th house, so there might be benefits and opportunities that come as a result. Maybe somebody bows out and you can bow in. But there could be a kind of a beneficial time in that lunar eclipse time frame. So April is a wild and futuristic month, and my advice is use charismatic yet humane elements. This quest, should you decide to accept it, is helped by a study of science and yet more SIG, that's special interest group networking. Okay, so the new moon on April 7th, but I'm giving a whole time frame here, is that there's a April 4th through 11th, the new moon is moving in square to Pluto, but it's conjunct Uranus. So in this case, you either have just had your birthday or you're just about to have your birthday, so this is, you're kind of in prime time, and you have a strong sense of your identity as a futurist, innovator, and eccentric. And so you have an idea about, genius, hipness, and innovation. Those are some keywords for Uranus and for this new moon. However, you have to reflect back, what did you do in January regarding your career and the bigger thought form there, and you got to pull that in. So it's never quite simple, but things might get a little easier after this in terms of this revolution we've been experiencing since 2011. Okay, so in May, my forecast is that heroic missions are beckoning just about everyone. Muscle and courage and street smarts are prerequisite if you want to get involved with these missions. So strong allies reinforce each other via affection, but also via pooling resources. That brings great success. Mercury retrograde, April 28th through May 22nd. So that's always extra care and communication. So the full moon is conjunct Mars. This is in your 9th house. So you have this amazing educational or religious experience. You have more global awareness. And at the same time, this is there's a lot going on with meetings, visits, and your skill set. So you're kind of juggling to go back and forth. And many people are in show-off mode. They feel compelled to perform and demonstrate strength. Okay, so June 2016 is one of the most complicated months, and I have it as a rewarding but challenging month with tricky and tempting components. This is a contest between superpowers. My advice is use strategy, not emotions. Management and adaptive mode say revise, revise, revise. And you're going to see what I mean in a minute, because this new moon in your 3rd house is focused on meetings. Meanwhile, it's opposed to Saturn in your 9th house, so that you're reflecting back on your education, your religious experience, global awareness. And then putting in the mix here is that in terms of your work and duty, you have good fortune and opportunity, but then you have this kind of lurking sense of spirituality and dreams and you have to cope with things you don't like or people you don't like. So this is a very complicated situation. It's just like as soon as you get one thing fixed, you got to go to another thing, and you're working all these elements into the mix. Okay, then next we go on to July 2016, and the forecast is that you want to be regrouping on issues, and many of which came up just in June, so you need a kind of a timeout. So the advice is take stock and see who is really on your team. So it's going to be very apparent on this new moon, July 2nd through 9th, that there is a lot that you want to do regarding your family, your property, and management, and to build a stronger basis for your happiness. So this is the new moon, gives us a chance. It's a tabula rasa, it's open and receptive. But meanwhile, again, reflecting back to what you did in January regarding your career. So the options are to renew important alliances and to build a better foundation for your career. But it's, you don't want to compromise either end, and that's hard because there's the opposition. There are two ends pulling. So August, the first 3 quarters of the month is really fun, so play it up to the max. However, when we get into the back to school time, this holds many lessons, so build your strength and be ready for that back to school time. So the back to school time, of course, is the 3rd week of August, and during that time there's a kind of I would call a heavy-handed conjunction between Mars and Saturn. And this is in your 9th house of education, religion, and travel, and maybe global awareness weighs sort of heavily on you. And that would be enough, except that it's forming a square to Neptune. Remember, Neptune in your 12th house giving you lush spirituality and dreams, but also the necessity of coping with the nemesis. So watch out for that. Now, September, we're back into eclipse season, and what I'm saying is that for everybody, there are assignments on a rocky road, and positive outcomes are likely, but certainly changes in the wind. Now, here's the reverse of August, where the last week is lucky, but the first 3 quarters is ongoing management and trend monitoring. So Mercury is retrograde August 30th through September 22nd, so that means you want to prepare for that by planning in advance as much as you can for most of September before that hits. Okay, so let's look at these solar eclipses. The first solar eclipse is actually on September 1st, and this is in your 6th house of duties, job, accounting, and health. So you can set up some new health regimens. It can be, as always, challenging time for men in solar eclipses, especially those who harbor illusions or who have some type of chemical dependency, which most people do, even if it's just eating sugar or drinking coffee. But they're lesser and greater vices. And in this case, you can be setting the trends for a better health situation or better work. Now, that's compounded by, here's our old friends, ever since November, And then again in June, and then here in September, we've been operating under the Saturn square Neptune, which is a very challenging configuration. For you, it's operating almost more in terms of theory, that you really feel strongly about education, religion, travel, and this has got to click in with your own sense of spirituality. So the two are kind of working in an uneasy partnership, let's say. I have here written it's Gothic soul-searching episode. It's time for saints and stoics, but other people besides saints and stoics may be a little uncomfortable. Okay, the full moon is a lunar eclipse, and this lunar eclipse in your 12th house, a place you've been spending a lot of time in spirituality and dreams. And what I'm thinking here is that vivid portrayals of human folly are going to yield some media wonders or advertising feats. So they're hitting on vulnerable points, especially for females. So females might feel like they're a little under attack. There's all this, weird bipolar, you get these extreme emotions of feeling really great and then feeling, not so great. So watch out for that during that full moon phase and take good care of yourself. October starts off with a bang. It's truly a rocket ride into the future and very fun socially. My advice is get out and be gracious, learn new skills, and also be generous and enjoy yourself. So the first thing is we have a new moon in the 7th house, so very social for you, very partnership oriented. And this can be some of the best opportunities in 12 years actually for you to build up your social life is this October. So I hope you jump on that. It'd be really opportunistic for you. Then that results in a full moon that's going to put you in the spotlight, and so that teams will work out very well for you. There'll be extra drama and revelations, very social. You might be able to organize things, and you might, the wild ride, bring in unexpected results, but good insights about futurism. So I would say get in there on that full moon, or in advance plan activities that are going to benefit you. November 2016 is mostly neutral, yet with some surprise options. It's good for catch-up. A lucky new moon at the end of November is going to prep. December's definitely December's definitely a marathon. So the first thing here is that in November, they're again continuing with your social life and partnership options, and now this could be uploaded into some career plans, and in the sense that benevolent partnerships could affect you. And yet you may have to explain to them about some of the trade secrets or some of the ins and outs of various career situations, the politics, for example. The new moon on November 29th, so the time window would be the 27th through the December 1st, is in your 9th house, time to do some education or travel, get involved with some kind of a global awareness or some kind of religious endeavor. And this is a very fortunate new moon because it's located halfway between the kind of enterprising planet combination of Jupiter and Mars. So that, again, Jupiter, luck and opportunity in 7th house, and then Mars, activating your 11th house. This could be a truly social, great networking time for you. Again, you set the trends on the new moon. So even though they're introverted, you want to go out and make things happen. Okay, December 2016, definitely action-packed marathon. It's going to squeeze out extra work as the end of the year dictates completions ASAP. Everyone's in a big hurry. So it's kind of interesting that the visionary new moon at the end of December is going to set up then the next New Year's trends. So Mercury's retrograde December 19th through January 8th, 2017. Okay, let's take a look at December. A lot going on in December. So the full moon phase is full moon's in your 3rd house, so a lot of meetings you have in the middle of the month, and the full moon always activates. It always makes a lot. It's almost like over cramming your schedule. But meanwhile, you're kind of holding steady with some dignity and expertise regarding your education or your global awareness or some kind of travel plans, and this is helped by the fact that you are in a leadership position. Everybody thinks that you know more about the future or more about innovation than they do. So that's kind of positive. And then there are windfalls possible in, ongoing into mid-January. And again, with your social life and then your social life options, I should say, that are very enthusiastic, with your personality, and that could be really great. So we're ending the year with a new moon right on New Year's Eve, which is kind of interesting, and this new moon is kind of back where we started, where you're focused on your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals. And what's interesting is that you are super intuitive and psychic, and really having vivid dreams. And I have here mystical foraging and paradise building, call for wisdom, incentives, and leadership. But the leadership might be more intuitive than practical. So anyway, have a great year, Aries. It looks like you have strong leadership capabilities, and wishing you well. And thank you very much for watching. My name's Victoria Martin.
Bu akşam seminerimizi canlı olarak mobil uygulamamız üzerinden yapıyoruz.